it's a competition, even if you work in the production or as a delegation, it's a contest for everyone, because you're up against the clock all the time to make things work.
We tried to make it look like a huge concert, and this is also what inspired us, but the entire look and feel is kind of different.
Just pushing borders, pushing. Good enough is not something that exists in our world. It has to be over-the-top excellent. It's wonderful to be back in the Eurovision world. I've been out of it for 5 years. So my last was 2019 in Tel Aviv. And then I did some Hollywood stuff, but now I'm here, back with a vengeance, and it feels great. This is home. It was actually quite surprising when we started to discover all the challenges with having a stage in the round, because where all our normal control positions for monitor and pyro and automation, etc., was all of a sudden center background in all the diagonal shots, which is of course many more when you do a stage in the round. So that was one big problem. We had to do a lot of cleanup to actually get nice backgrounds, only audience and not just technicians. Another problem is that you're moving away from the best load capacity of the ceiling, the further out to center you go. And we actually ended up on the 2 weakest beam in the venue, where we had to hang 5 LED cubes that weighs 2.8 tons each. So it's been many and long meetings with engineers, and quite spectacular motor grid that needed to come in to be able to distribute the weight away from these beams, so the venue doesn't collapse. That's bad PR. We don't want that.
When I came into the production last summer, I had this wish to create something very urban, very young, a bit different. I didn't know exactly what. I had like a lot of ideas looking at lighting and video and how to approach that. Since I'm grown up here, I don't live here, but I'm grown up here in this region. And I always really liked the coastline of Malmö and the connection between, since the bridge came, the connection between Copenhagen and Sweden. It changed a lot over the last 20-25 years, this region. From Malmö being an industrial city to being a very urban city. That's the ideas that started to spin in my head, like how do we approach this? With those ideas, then Florian came up with this staging concept. It was a little bit different from the beginning, but very much still where it ended up today. So when I saw this, his first renders and his first ideas of it, I think that really clicked for me. Also when Sydney came into the project, the graphics designer who put together the concept of all the color gradients. I think the three of us, like our three directions with this, really merged together well.
Eurovision is a tough show, so the bar is extremely high, and it's also difficult to make a show better because people are doing things better. I think it's almost impossible because everything is already on such a high level. But what you can do is you can do things different. And this was the approach. And what is Eurovision about? It's mostly about this connection between the people in the room and the talent on stage. It almost goes for every live entertainment music show that I try to create this kind of connection between talent and audience. Here it's slightly different because it's a TV show as well, so it's both has to work for the TV viewers at home. But I believe everything that works in the room also is going to work on, well, not everything, but a lot of stuff, like the energy in the room actually gets transported on TV as well. So I thought, yeah, 360-degree played in the round might be an interesting one. But then, of course, this show is quite complex and has a lot of restrictions. As we all know, the time for the turnover, for the changeover, to get all the props on stage and all this kind of stuff, actually all speaks against playing in the round, because the entire logistics is so extremely complex on this one. I think we found a good solution. It's not 100% in the round, but it actually works like a center stage in a way. It's also shot like a center stage.
We already had the cubes, that was a part of the original design from Florian, the video cubes, and then I added all the pods surrounding the cubes, the lighting pods in automation. And then also we have the green room in the back behind the screen, so the screen needs to open, and that presented a challenge because we had to achieve a very high trim height, so 17 meter clearance-ish. From some technical aspects into it and also some design aspects into it, we needed a rig that could work on 17 meters, 18 meters up, but also, of course, come all the way down to the ceiling. So we ended up working with a lot of automation, and that demands a lot of planning. When you get out of talking and into doing this for real.
Everything became very unconventional. For example, you have with key lighting, and you have someone that performs in not full 360 degrees, but 270, and also with a ceiling that has 199 C1 hoists, so everything moves. So I do believe that, and Fredrik Stormby, our lighting designer, that was one of his biggest headaches, was how the hell do I do key lighting in a way that makes sense. Ended up we're using Follow Me system with 8 operators operating, I think it's 64 key or 68 key light fixtures. So now we can reach artists almost in any configuration of the ceiling.
This is not a one-man show at all. It's all about catering delegations and try to make the most out of it. So I think there are two things to it. You want to create a strong idea and a strong concept for the show. That's kind of the mothership of it all. But then you also need to cater all the delegations and try to make all their ideas come true one way or another.
We have a large variety of new fixtures. We have our main workhorse is the Rivale from Ayrton, which we have 378 of. Then we have the Ayrton Kalami, which we are actually doing the world premiere of on this show. We're the first ones using it. We have 170. Then we have the Marty Mac 1. Again, we're one of the first shows in the world using it. Fantastic fixture. I love the ratio of weight, output and power consumption.
I call them the infield pods because they're like in the infield of and surrounding the stage. And I also think it's nice because they are quite transparent and the cables are really nicely tied up, and so we can use them as a layer between the audience and the stage performers. We
also have the new GLP GDC2, 24 units I think. And a bunch of other toys. It's 2,168 active lights in the rig. Bunch of Chauvet bars and bunch of tamboras and skylas.
It's 20 lighting pods coming down from the ceiling that's surrounding the video cubes, also inside the video cubes. We use the Ayrton Rivales tambora linears framing the pod. Yeah, it's a compact fixture. I really like the size and scale of it, and I think it does what it does well. I wanted to do everything with laser and LED fixtures, and then I wanted to have something that could act as a workhorse fixture in the rig, and it was important that it could narrow in quite well and that it had shapers and some gobos and the traditional stuff, but mainly shapers was a big thing. And I kind of liked to have an instrument like that also fits into the budget.
Thank you, Sound. It's so nice of them to play something. We should go back there. Let's go over there and scream at him. 5 minutes. Vem är det ni... är hon ute i... Oh, sorry. So we're sound checking Elena something that won... what's her name, Elena? I can't remember. He won in Kiev 2005 for Greece. Yeah, I should know her name. Yeah, here are the world famous calamis. I call them calamaris from Ayrton. Cute little things, laser driven. Got the brand new Pixel Bar 16 from Chauvet that we actually have all around in the menu to outline together with Rivales. So we have 20 pods where 19 of them have 9 Rivales each, outlined with tamboras. There is also rose strips in them and GDC1 strobe, I believe. They're powered by 4 cyber hoists. Speaking of power, we have Power Shop is doing all our show power here. The center one has only 8 fixtures because there's a drop cam that travels through it. So we have a pod that travels through a cube and a drop cam that travels through both. So very complex wire cable management up there. And as you see, all the arena is outlined with Rivales, GDC2s and more pixel bars. We have a Skylos truss that also goes all around. If it's not outlined with a Chauvet pixel bar, it's outlined with a rose strip. And then we have more. We have lasers, more calamis, more Rivales, more pixel bars. In these flower boxes we also have pyro, and so we have flame units and gerbs and comets and yeah, flames, all kinds of stuff. That's the screen, which also has a very expensive video door in it. You can open the upstage left corner, so we get a 3.5 meter by 3.5 meter opening for props in and out. The whole stage is also outlined with, we have a lot of rocks strobes here, 170 of them, I believe. There's one truss that actually has 60 universes on it. It's got to be a new world record. One truss alone consumes 60 DMX universes. That's pretty crazy. I mean, I've done Eurovisions with less than 60 DMX universes. So yeah, it's yeah, we're on a fun scale this year for sure. So there is one final thing I need to say to you all. Good evening, music lovers. Okay, bye.
So a lot of creative comes from the delegation themselves, at least the initial ideas, and then of course it gets, you know, lighting design, etc., taking over from a certain point on. But the initial creative usually comes from the delegations themselves, and I wanted to give them the best possible playground. This set is extremely tricky for many reasons, and for a lot of different departments, from a creative but also from a technical point of view. With Fredrik it was actually quite easy because first we connected immediately, so I love working with him and we're 100% on the same page from a creative point of view. So we always had the same kind of vision, and even though if I came up with this initial idea, from a certain point on, or a very early point on, this entire thing got developed together. So he had ideas, I had ideas, and we just throw everything into the mix and decided what is the best. I want Eurovision not to look like a TV show. Fredrik actually is thinking in the same kind of direction. We tried to make it look like a huge concert, and this is also what inspired us, but the entire look and feel is kind of different. So how music gets presented in a modern way is not how a TV show usually looks like. That was the main idea. This actually has nothing to do with Sweden. What has something to do with Sweden is You know, all the Swedish design is actually pretty clean, usually looks pretty slick, is never overloaded. Clean is actually the strong and clean design describes it the best way. And this definitely has a kind of a Swedish approach. And if you look at all the latest stuff, not only from a design, but everything that's music related, whether it's Swedish House Mafia, it all goes in the same kind of direction from a in terms of look and feel, and this is what we try to inhale into this show.
Just pushing borders, pushing. Good enough is not something that exists in our world. It has to be over-the-top excellent. We have the largest MA3 network ever built. It's twice as big as the second largest. Yesterday, front of house celebrated that they had a show file of 1 gigabyte, which is also a world record.
I really enjoy to work like with combinations of strong elements. I would like to have like one super punchy line of light here, or a big light that can do like a moonflower effect really strong from the back. Doing TV, and especially doing TV in a 360 concept like this, is equally as much about turning things off as turning things on, because you can't blow a big backlight look straight into the face of someone. So as soon as they turn around, we need to take those lights out and bring those lights on, and we really need to work with the cameras. And that's been a big part of it as well, using Live Edit, because we do all the scripting, both lighting and video and everything, and cameras in Live Edit. So we have everything in one place. We couldn't have done it on MA2. Then we would have to divide it into different sessions, which is an option. I think the MA3 system allows us to do a multi-user session with the capabilities of what we need to do. And then also there is a lot of features in MA3, like with the selection grids and so on. You can do pixel mapping style effects, like more graphic effects and stuff, way more easy. And that's something I appreciate from a creative point of view.
We are using ST2110 to distribute video content, which we are the first ones in the world doing. And we distribute content up to speeds of over 2 terabytes per second, which is, when you start thinking about it, it's insane. It's an insane amount of data that we send out per second. Also, new world record in cyber hoists. We beat the old one with more than 40 hoists. It's a song contest, but it's also in many ways a technical competition.
My name is Oskar, and I'm the head of sound for Eurovision 2024 in Malmö. When it comes to the arena sound, we of course need to be out of picture. So the speakers are really high up and away from every LED screen and lights. But we're very pleased to use the L-Acoustic L2 and L2Ds, which really helps us to get a very even coverage, although it's coming from way up. It's much more even over distance and also vertically. We've got 6 clusters of L2 and L2Ds, and we've got 4 clusters with just an L2D playing straight down for the people nearest to the stage. There are also some X8s and subs under the stage for the first row. It's a cardioid, so you don't spill that much low end to onto the stage. But we're using Shure microphones, Accent Digital, in conjunction with some different capsules. And for head mics, we're using DPA 4088s, which gives lots of headroom on the hosts. And those mics in conjunction with the PA gives us a lot of headroom wherever the hosts are in the arena. Front of house, guys, that's got the main and the backup stage tech desk, Avatus, I think it is. At Monitor World, we have 2 SD7 Quantums, 1 main and a backup. We also have a SD7 in the soundcheck room, whereas the first time the actors get here, they got to do a soundcheck in a separate room in peace and quiet.
It's a competition, even if you work in the production or as a delegation, it's a contest for everyone, because you're up against the clock all the time. I've been working on Eurovisions before. I think the challenge here is that everything is in automation. Like we can't really do anything at all without running an automation queue. And that's a little bit different, because if we have everything in the home position, it's just 18 meters up in the air.
We set new standards, definitely, or we haven't set them yet, but come Monday we'll start setting new standards of how to bring Eurovision into the future.